I call this Happy Thanksgiving. You know, working overseas is sometimes hard on a feller. It makes things a little bit different than what it does when you're working in the States. I remember in November of 1973, I moved over to Saudi Arabia for Halliburton. I was cementing for them. I was green as I could get. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any idea, but I was getting ready to learn. On Christmas that year, well, Thanksgiving, shoot, we didn't even know what day Thanksgiving was. You lost complete track of time because you were so busy you didn't have anything to do but work. But Christmas come along, and you know, everybody knew what Christmas was, and you know, because they had told all the hands in the field that if you were single, you'd be staying in the field all the time, and that the married boys would get to go home, be with their families, and that was just fine with everybody around. We didn't have very many people, and so we had 31 drilling rigs running, and with 31 drilling rigs running and 4 workover rigs and 4 cement pump trucks, the fella was kind of busy. So on that particular day, on Christmas Day, I caught 5 cement jobs, and most every time when you'd pull up the location, they'd be sitting there circulating and waiting on you. And I was in a place called Andar, and for a Christmas dinner, and man, I was ready for some turkey and dressing, and what showed up was some boiled shrimp, and it was kind of different, but it was certainly good, and it was worth eating. And I believe you can tell by looking at me, I do enjoy my eating. And this went on for a couple of days. We covered for all the married guys and let them stay home in Al-Khobar with their families, and that was just fine. That was the first Christmas I ever stayed away from home, and it was kind of hard. I was just a kid. I was about 23 years old, and never had been away from my mom and dad, and it was kind of tough the very first Christmas to be away. Like I say, you miss Thanksgiving. Next Christmas, I was down in Angola in West Africa, and Thanksgiving came, and that year A&M was supposed to beat Texas. They were 21-point favorite. Well, being the gambling man that I was at that time, I decided I was going to bet the farm on Texas A&M, and I did. And so I had all my money bet on it, and I mean to tell you, I was still taking bets after the ball game was done, and there wasn't anything we could do about it. Nobody knew the score, and I mean to tell you, I knew that I was in the money. Well, come to find out, I was actually pulling an RTTS out of the hole, and I had that driller coming out of the hole, so I thought, well, I'm going to run up here in the Radio Shack, and I'm going to call into New Orleans, where my brother was. He worked for Placid. He was a geologist for Placid at the time. So I got up there, and I got on that ship-to-shore radio, and I called WOM Miami, World Overseas Miami. And I called them up, WOM, it's Key Victoria right at Congo River, come on. And I finally got them to pick up on it, and I told them I wanted to talk to Kellum down there in New Orleans. And so they called him collect from Miami, and he paid for the call. And I said, Kellum, what was the score? He said 42-3, and I went, all right, man, I'm in the money. Then he said Texas. I said, excuse me? He said it was Texas. I went, man, I tell you what, you can't be telling me the truth. And he said, yes, sir. He said Texas beat them. I mean, they had them 14-0 in the first 15 or 20 seconds. It was just a screaming mess. A&M never had a chance, and it was 42-3. And I, honest to God, lost the farm, and which wasn't much of a farm, but when you make about $900 a month, when you lose $2,000 or $3,000, you have lost a whole bunch of money. And I did. And since that time, I have never, ever bet any more than $1 on any football game that there is. I'll bet $1 head up on Dallas, and I'll bet $1 head up on A&M. I don't need any points, and more than likely, if I lose, I'm going to welch on the bet. But I have never, ever lost any more big money. So Thanksgiving to me that year really did suck. Through the years, I was over in Germany in 1978, 79. It was 78 is what it was, and I was working like a dog. I had stuff going on all over the place, and I couldn't get a lot done because I couldn't find anybody in the Hague office. I was in Germany, and I'd call over to the Hague in Holland, And the phone would just ring and ring and ring and ring, and it just boiled the chapped my butt. And I needed to get some stuff going on, and so I finally called our head engineer, district engineer, division engineer, named Roger Padgham, at home. And I said, Pinky, what in the hell is going on? I can't get anybody on the phone. He said, well, Cash, he said, it's Thanksgiving Day. And I said, oh, really? You know, they don't celebrate it all like what we do over here. There's been some wonderful Thanksgivings, and there's been some really wonderful Christmases. I know this year it's going to be kind of tough on a lot of the oil field people, because there's been things that happened in our oil field that we didn't have any control over. And as it's turned out, lots of us don't have jobs, but what we do have is we've got one another, and you got something that most folks don't have, and that is a united oil field behind you. We're here to help you, and if there's anything in the world that Oil Field Trash can do for you and yours, you let us know. We're going to try to help you get some jobs and keep your jobs. We want to do everything in our power to do just that. It's my full intention to help everybody that I possibly can. Anybody that wants some help, anybody that needs some help, we're going to do what we can do to help. So just keep your head up. Everything will be all right. Christmas is going to be poor around my house, but you got to keep in mind what Christmas is all about. It's not about the gifts. It's not about the diamonds. It's not about the gold. It's about the birth of Christ, and us always respecting and paying attention to just exactly what Christmas is truly about. It's not the gifts, guys. Hang in there. I guarantee you everything's going to be all right. Things are going to get a lot better. I promise you, it's going to get a lot better, and we're going to blow them out. Stay with us, and have a very good Thanksgiving, and have a wonderful Christmas. Remember, it's about the birth of Jesus. Thank you very much.